So, with the American election just 2 weeks away and the entire world freaking out over everything, I thought it'd be a fun video to do the top 5 reasons that you should vote for Donald Trump. However, I wanted to rank them in order of important to people outside of America. Just because I'm outside of America, I figured, what the hell. So, the number one reason of importance for non Americans to wish for Trump to win is who is Trump's opponent? Okay. Now you could say the Democrats, and maybe, but the real opponent of Donald Trump is you see sort of this global conglomerate, social media, tech censorship, the establishment, let's say. And it's really important that Trump wins here, and this is for the rest of the world. And you see this in the context of the New York Post story and the Hunter Biden emails. So the bigger scandal, other than Hunter Biden is a complete screw up and his debt, you know what? You can excuse the fact that Joe Biden has a soft spot for his screw up son, considering his non-screw up son died. You can understand the father's love. Now the other corruption stuff, the having him on Burisma's board, that goes a bit far. But the real story here is the fact that the New York Post has been basically taken off Twitter for 5 days, and for the crime of reporting against Donald Trump. And the reason why it's so important that Trump wins is I think it is very, very important that the tech giants have to learn that if they start to interfere in countries in elections like this, if they see success, if Trump loses, they can go, well, we did a great job. We really contributed. Our fake news monitor, blah, blah, blah. If Trump wins in a landslide here, hopefully you have a spot where Twitter and the big tech companies reassess their views on censorship and election interference and realize, hey, maybe like we live in such a bubble that when we do this, it's counterproductive. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but I think that's one of the most underrated, important things that needs to happen out of 2020 is the tech giants need to learn to stay the hell out of our democracy and stop picking sides so openly. Number 2, peace in the Middle East. I started to see this at the beginning of 2016, 2017, saying and meeting a bunch of other people like, oh my God, Trump's policy is like, this is actually the closest we've ever come to like peace in the Middle East or an Israel-Palestine peace deal. It really was remarkable. And this is really the tale of 2 peace deals. And the Democrats, people will tell you they're so peaceful and they did such a great job. But you really have to understand what the Democrats did in the Middle East and what Trump is doing to just realize your ideology is probably flawed and you're not the super genius you think you are because you took one course on Middle Eastern studies like 10 years ago. The Iran deal was Obama's crown achievement and sort of set the stage for Trump fixing it. But all you need to know is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are very, very strong that they want to re-enter into the Iran deal. I'm just going to explain the Iran deal, some of the better parts of it for you. Look, please don't take my word. Please don't take my word for it. Please go read the Iran deal. In the Iran deal, it gives Iran the capabilities to build nuclear weapons 20 years after it's signed. Right, so they can start enriching uranium at a weapons grade right before that. Now, after that 20-year mark, the American military would be required to protect the Iranian nuclear weapons program if a foreign country, let's say Israel, decided to try and take it out after 20 years. Yes, American defense would have to be used to defend Iran from keeping a nuclear weapon. Now, in order to make sure they were not building a nuclear bomb, they agreed to on-site weapons inspection. Oh my God, this is so funny. Okay, so usually when you have weapons inspectors, okay, and they come, they're like, oh, North Korea, can I go check things out? You come at a random date, you expect to see weapons. The deal that Obama gave the Iranians in the JCPOA was that, yes, there'd be weapons inspectors. Yes, they'd expect Iran for nuclear weapons, but they couldn't come on surprise dates. They had to tell the Iranians what day they're coming, and the Iranians get to choose what rooms and where they cannot look. As I've said, this is like a game of hide-and-go-seek to the death, right? Except the rules are, okay, I'll hide, and if you can find me within the next 10 days, you win $1 billion. If you lose, you die. But I get to choose one room you're never allowed to look in. Who's going to win? Okay. Iran deal. So Donald Trump fixing that, getting Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Sudan now, all these countries sort of on side with sort of like, okay, Iran's the real crazy threat. Let's actually make some peace deals. Let's open up transmission. Let's have the Arab world stop all this crazy anti-Semitic propaganda. Let's focus on the real terrorists. Great work there. Former years of Trump could bring peace in the Middle East, and that's another reason to possibly vote for the man. Number 3 is fighting fascism or anti-fascism or whatever you want to call it. Donald Trump is the only world leader that is not put forward some sort of crazy authoritarian COVID-19 law. Like, we've all heard that Donald Trump's a literal fascist, like literal fascism. Hitler looks good by comparison. The good thing about Hitler is he wasn't Donald Trump. We've heard all of this. He's the only one that hasn't tried to steal massive, massive, massive executive powers during COVID-19. So I did a whole video on that, but I think it's really good. Now, the strange thing is, from a global perspective, we're going to go back on this. It's kind of weird because, like, Trump's anti-fascism, like literal, like non-fascist impulse, like don't take massive executive control, don't become the dictator impulse, could actually backfire in other countries, because if Trump says something like, you know, concentration camps are bad. I met this Jewish woman. She survived the Holocaust. She was fantastic. God, you wouldn't believe how Jewish this woman was. Unbelievably Jewish. I met this big, beautiful Jewish woman. She tells me concentration camps bad, Holocaust bad, so I figure no concentration camps. That could turn the entire left, especially in Canada, be like, no, concentration camps are good. We need to gas the Jews, because if we don't, we're literally Hitler. That you could see that type of inverse reaction happening. But you can't, you know, run your life on the radical left. Number 4, economy. I think this is sort of like, this would probably be number 1 for most Americans, and fair enough. I mean, the economy was doing fantastic before COVID-19. One of the things I despise about the American left is how they play up this sort of anti-American thing, which is like, okay, I'll be honest, with Americans, like, there is a stereotype where it's like the ignorant American that doesn't know a lot about other people's countries. Like, okay, that's a stereotype. But the worst manifestation of this stereotype is the American leftist that complains about this, yet embodies all the worst things of it. And this is Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. It's, oh my God, Donald Trump has ruined our economy with COVID. He's murdered all these people. Like, every economy across the world is in the tank, okay? Every single one. And Trump is right, it's China's fault. But every single economy in the world is in the tank. So, but I hate how the Democrats say, oh my God, you're making us a laughingstock of the rest of the world. But just completely ignoring the context of the rest of the world in order to hammer Trump. It drives me crazy. So yes, who do you trust the economic recovery to, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? I think if you don't trust the Trump economy before this, and also as we said in the previous thing, Trump's like willingness to just get past COVID, whereas every other, you know, political party seems to have a willingness to embrace COVID, to expand executive authority and use an excuse for poor economic outcome and, you know, kick the can down the line, essentially. Number 5 reason, it would be hilarious. Number 5 reason is he's just a lot funnier than literally everyone else. I find him wildly entertaining. Sometimes I'm laughing at him. Sometimes I'm laughing with him. That town hall, I was laughing. I was laughing really, really hard at just all the Trumpisms. Like, we got to send it this Tim Scott. Yeah, great bill, beautiful bill, a big beautiful bill on criminal justice reform. What did Nancy Pelosi do? Right, it's just really hilarious to watch him like sell things. And, you know, I saw a Trump rally where he was like, "Where's Jared? Jared's probably get a piece of the Middle East. This guy's so skinny." Like, just talking about his son-in-law like this. It's just really, really funny. As a politics nerd who has to watch this stuff, like, Joe Biden would bore the hell out of me. I'd be really bored by Joe Biden for 4 years. So if you're thinking of me, just the pure entertainment factor. Also, all the meltdowns you'll see post-election, I found those really funny. So number 5 would just be, it would be super hilarious, and I just want to laugh because everyone needs a little pick-me-up. So to recap, what is it? Number 1, fighting back against the tech giants establishment, you know, all the negative forces that are sort of globally coming for our democracy. Trump would be a good pushback to that. Number 2, peace in the Middle East. 3, resisting the dictatorial impulse of COVID-19. 4, the economy. And 5, it would be funny. And that's all from the perspective of a non-American. So I will see everyone tomorrow.